Hi guys, welcome to biology lesson 5.02 on homologous pairs and genes. So we've been talking about the fact that these homologous pairs are similar but not identical. And so we're going to use an example of we have a creation and they're called ice cream snowman. And later on in the year, we're going to build these. And these ice cream snowmen have on the bottom, so we'll just draw a little picture here. They have a two scoop snowman. So on the bottom, they have chocolate. And on the top, since I can't draw vanilla, I'll just do black to show that it's white. So on the top, we have a scoop of vanilla. And they can have, their hair can be a couple of different possibilities. They can have whipped cream hair or they can have sprinkle hair. So let's do sprinkles. Sprinkles have to be different colors, right? And then their eyes can be chocolate chips or they can be butterscotch chips. And they have other traits that we'll see. They can have licorice arms or pretzel arms, so on and so forth. And each of these traits is controlled by a portion of the chromosome called a gene. So what we want to do today is we want to look at these homologous pairs for this ice cream snowman. And we want to look at the genes that control these traits. So here we're seeing different traits. So our snowmen are nice and easy. They have 4 chromosomes or 2 homologous pairs. So let's draw these out. The first pair looks like this, and the second pair, and we're going to make this a girl. So we have 4 chromosomes. We've got chromosome number 1, chromosome number 2, chromosome number 3, and chromosome number 4. But chromosomes 1 and 2 are a homologous pair. So these two are homologous pair 1. And second, I gotta fix my paper. This is homologous pair number 2. So as it turns out, there are sections on these chromosomes. Let's look at homologous pair number 1. We have a section here. I'm going to color on one of the homologous chromosomes, I'm going to color this section dark green. And on chromosome number 2, I'm going to do light green. I'm going to make little boxes over here. So these boxes represent a gene. So this is the first time we're using the word gene. A gene. A gene is a portion of a chromosome that codes for a specific trait, that it has a code for the specific trait. Portion of a chromosome that has the code for a specific trait. Well, so what we're saying is, at this section of chromosome number 1 and chromosome number 2, there is a portion of this that has a code for a specific trait. These two are the code for hair. So this combination of genes gives rise to sprinkle hair. Now, how that happens, we're going to do in the next chapter, I believe. But so when we say they're similar but not identical, what we're talking about is the fact that these 2 chromosomes both have a gene for hair at these 2 sites, but we can have slightly different copies. They're not identical. Similar, but not identical. Well, what's up with these guys down here? I said we're going to make this a girl, so let's put a bow on her hair to make her a girl. This is a girl snowman. Well, this second homologous pair are special. These are called sex chromosomes. I'm going to change back to black. Sex chromosomes. And usually organisms have a set, and it could be the last set that we label, that are different. So in this case, I have two chromosomes that look pretty similar, but if I had this, I would have a boy. So this is a girl. So we call these X chromosomes. And if you're a boy, your last homologous pair is an XY. So this is going to be a boy. Now this pair isn't like that. These pairs are always similar. So we call these autosomes. Autosomes, sex chromosomes are homologous chromosomes that determine the sex of an organism. Autosomes are all the chromosomes that are not sex chromosomes. So basically we just define autosomes as not sex chromosomes. And these have genes as well. And we have some interesting applications by the fact that if you're a boy, you don't get two copies of the same gene. So we're going to introduce it. I don't remember if we used this term in the last video or not, but we're going to introduce a new term. If you're diploid, you have two copies of a gene or two chromosomes, or your chromosomes are arranged in as homologous chromosomes. So we'll just say homologous chromosomes. Not every organism is like this. Some organisms only have a single chromosome and they don't have two copies for genes. If that happens, we're haploid. We only have one chromosome, which also means one chromosome or one gene per trait. And if you think about it, this is kind of easy to remember because di means two, and hap sounds like half. So half of two is one. So it's kind of a built-in way to remember this. The last thing we want to talk about is how do these traits come about? So is there some kind of a magic? If you have a certain genetic code here, is there a magic hair fairy that comes along and gives you a special trait? Well, what happens, as it turns out, is that this code is the code for a protein. And the protein gives rise to the trait. So if you have blue eyes, the proteins that are in your iris are built differently than the proteins that are in the iris of somebody who has brown eyes or has green eyes. Or if you have wavy hair, the gene for your hair gives rise to a protein that grows differently than someone who has straight hair. Their protein is different. So traits almost always come from proteins. So let's recap. We wanted to investigate in this video homologous pairs and genes, and what exactly is a homologous pair. So a homologous pair is a set of chromosomes that have the same copies of genes for the same trait, even though those genes could be slightly different. So, for example, with this homologous pair, where I have one chromosome and two chromosomes, these are similar but not identical. They have at the same location a gene for a hair type on our snowmen. And a gene is a portion of chromosome that has a code for a specific trait. That DNA has the code for a protein, and the protein gives rise to a trait. We can talk about homologous pairs as sex chromosomes, which are as a set that determines whether you're going to be a female or male. And we have autosomes, which are any pairs that are not sex chromosomes. A diploid means you have two copies of a gene or a chromosome. We have homologous chromosomes. Haploid means you only have one chromosome or one gene per trait. So if you look at this, if there's just to wrap up, if there is a trait here on the X chromosome, what we're going to see down the road is if you're a boy, that's the one time you can be haploid. Because if you're a boy, you don't have that X chromosome, so you're actually haploid for that trait. We'll talk much more about that later. All right, that's all for now. Thanks for watching.